Have you ever started to read a document and realized after a while that you aren't understanding it? Have you ever read through a document, got to the end, and realized that you'll have to start again or go back to parts of it if you want to actually understand it? Have you ever started reading a book and stopped because it was just too hard to follow? Most of us have. Are you sure that you have never written a document that made other people feel the same way? Are you sure? What if there were an easy-to-use, accessible, objective, and scientifically proven way to test whether what you have written is easy to read? Would that be good? Well, there is. Your spell checker can run a Flesch reading ease test for you. Here's an example. The test gives you a score. The higher the score, the easier your writing is for people to understand first time. The lower the score, the harder it is, and therefore the less effective. A manager recently wrote a document that scored 14.1. After a third party pointed out how hard it was to understand, the manager rewrote it. It scored 50. That's nearly 3 times easier to read, easier to understand, and easier to remember. If you want your documents to be easier to read, easier to understand, and easier to remember, here's how. In Word, go to File, Options, Proofing. Check this box here, Show Readability Statistics. Then, when you run a spell check, your PC will scan your text and crunch the numbers for you. You'll get this pop-up. Remember, the higher the score, the more memorable the content, and the easier it is for people to understand. If you're reading a script, or even writing a script, the same applies, but people hear it rather than read it. Okay, how do you make your score higher? Here are 4 simple tips. 1. Write in short sentences. 2. Use shorter words wherever you can. 3. Use short paragraphs. 4. Use an active voice. For instance, you should speak clearly rather than clear speech should be used. Follow those 4 rules. Your work will be much more readable and therefore more effective.